So, and those that are caught up in religion, whether that's the Jehovah's Witness, the Muslims, the whatever, there's nothing wrong with being a black Jehovah's Witness. There's nothing wrong with being a black Muslim, a black Christian, a black Baptist, a black, Jewish, Jew, a black whatever. But you'll want to know, how did you get it? How did you become that? Not you, where your parents just gave it to you and you now have it. But how did black people get that religion? And what you will find when you start putting that puzzle together, you will find that every single religion, two things are going to come through that puzzle and shine clear as day. Every religion that black people claim today, they got from an oppressor. And that's something that people need to understand. When you are conquered, your spirituality and your belief in God and your relationship with God is taken. It's beaten out of you. And what is beaten into you is your oppressor's version of God, a version of how things are supposed to go, so that it keeps them in dominance. So many black people have become just blind robots, spokespersons for their oppressor's religion, even though they see in that religion that it is completely lopsided and that there are only certain people that are allowed to know certain things. There's only certain people that are allowed to possess the original stuff, but nobody's ever seen it. There's only certain people that are allowed to ascend to a certain height. You even have a lot of people wondering, how did white people get millions of black people to wait for a white Jesus to come save them from white people who were killing them? So, you have to think that the religion that black people have been given by their oppressors were so blatant. You're wondering why black people even accepted it. Why were they so accepting of it? Why were they so gullible? Why were they able to be fooled by it? We're talking about people who say, well, we were the first this, we were first that. Then why were we so easily tricked? That's something that people are going to have to deal with if they're going to deal with their history. Because if you think of black people as being the first astronomers, the first scholars, the first sailors, the first all of these different things, then what was it that happened 2,000 years ago, 2,007 years ago, 6,000 years ago, or whatever your number is that you believe in? What happened at that time to take black people from being completely self-sufficient and spiritually connected with the universe and their creator to being inferior and subservient to a demonic race? You have to ask yourself in order to get the answers, because you have elders that say, until you ask the question, you are not ready for the answer. So a lot of people kind of keep blinders on and put their hands over their ears and put another hand over their mouth and say, I don't want to know how I got it. I got it, I believe it, and that's just how I'm going to live and die. So what if my life is miserable? I don't want to know anything else. And for those people, that is a very sad existence, because you were born for greatness, and you spend your entire life believing in a book that tells you you cannot achieve that greatness in this lifetime. And that's really, really sad. So in our history segment each week, we will be breaking down some of the versions of the different religions and where they got those versions from. What was the original spirituality where they got their version of God from. So that's going to be very important for those of you that have children. You can just go to our archives. If you should get a link or anything about the show, you just go to the archives, push on that show. We'll keep up a title so that it can you'll be able to see the ones that talk about certain things that you want to share with the children. And you just push on that, and you'll get to hear the whole show from beginning to end. So I just want to let you know that this is the Nita Black Show. I am your host, Nita Black. Mainly, you can pretty much say what you want to say. There's not many people that we have not dealt with over the course of the 42 years of the Black Panther Party. And a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about the party that will also be going through. I know I hear people say all the time that even some of the former members say, well, the party dissolved back in the day. And a lot of people do not understand what happened to the thousands and thousands of people that had become members and had formed different chapters and different versions of the Panthers based on the movement that was occurring back in the 60s. Not all of them, actually most of the people who had been inspired by the founders may not have agreed with some of the things that they were doing in the public and in the media and all that stuff. But they definitely supported the programs that the founders had in mind. And many of those founders went to different people in the community and to set up those programs. If you needed a medical program, you went to the black doctors, and they believed in the movement. Many of them became Panthers. And even though they may have, officially broken off or not so much associated with some of the more tumultuous parts of the founders' campaigns in the media, they still, were Panthers through and through and kept those programs going long after many of the 500 or so that followed the founders were getting caught up in everything from jail and on the run and dying and all that stuff. Many people don't realize, I don't even think the founders really realized how many Panthers they actually inspired, how many programs they inspired into existence. I don't think they really understood, even the former members today, I don't think they really know how many Panthers there were following the program parts and following the community parts of what the Panthers initiated. So even though the founders had started dying and having to, be exiled and different things, many of those Panthers that they inspired kept things right on going. It's just they did it on a more community level and more quiet level, and over the years have educated 2 generations of Panthers. So you will be getting introduced over the course of the show to those Panthers that were inspired and have kept programs going for 42 years. You will be meeting those Panthers like myself that we are the Cubs of that party, and we have been taking over and continuing the work of our parents and our elders for the past 27 years. And you'll also be meeting some of the 3rd generation Cubs who have now taken up that baton and are, being taught by us and by the 1st generation, so that they too will be able to keep this going into the next 4th generation of Panthers. So just know that most of the things that what you hear about people on TV, in the media and different stuff, you hear 10 seconds of a 2-day story. So, this is definitely one of those situations where it was actually best, and it usually is best for the community to not know everything. That was definitely one of the things that was learned in the 60s, is that not everybody can be a Panther. Not everybody can have all of the information at the same time, because you have people who have different agendas that may be counter to the progress of the black community. You may have people who overzealously will, do things that actually do more harm to the black community than it does help. So you'll get some understanding about that and the history of that. Okay? I want to make sure that I let people know some of the things that will be introduced by other radio hosts that we deal with and television hosts that we deal with. So those of you that are in the industry or trying to get into the industry, those of you that may not have always been positive but want to start doing more positive stuff, you're definitely going to have a lot of opportunities to get involved with something that you can actually be proud of, and something that you'll be able to show people and know that you were involved with making a serious difference, okay? For those of you that enjoy the show and want to share it with family members and things like that, we're going to be having some of our bootleggers. Yes, I am a fan of bootleggers, and we're going to be giving them some positive things that they can bootleg. They forever bootlegging crazy stuff. But we've been working with some of them, and we asked them, if we give you something positive to bootleg, where you don't have to be looking over your shoulders and worrying about police and stuff like that, would you do it? And they was like, yeah, we'd be happy to. So they're going to be taking the shows, and they're going to be actually mass producing them for us, and they're going to get their little cut, and hopefully we got a program that is going to set them up in little kiosks and little, so they can grow to actual video stores and record stores that promote positivity. And so we're really, really excited about that. That's something that we do on a regular basis, and now we're able to do it with a whole nother generation and the technological black generation. So we're really having a good time with that. And